Hello everybody, Conqueror09 here, and welcome to this video. It's no secret that I love Killer Instinct. I've Let's Played the first game twice, I've reviewed all the games, not counting the new one, I use Sindar and Fulgore as my avatars for my commentary type videos, and of course, I do Killer Instinct artwork on my DeviantArt account. I've been with the Killer Instinct series for a very long time, around the ages of 4 and 5, and it was one of the first games that I ever played along with Donkey Kong Country, and was one of the games that pretty much made me into the gamer that I am today. And to celebrate that I have 500 subscribers on YouTube, why don't I talk about the history of the original Killer Instinct? Well, I guess the best place to start is, well, during the beginnings of Donkey Kong Country. After making buttloads of money off their NES games, Rare decided to buy themselves an advanced silicon graphics computer system. A computer that's been used in big Hollywood movies to make the T-1000 from Terminator 2, the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park, and the off-the-wall faces from Jim Carrey's The Mask. And to show off their new technology, Rare made a small 3D tech demo of a boxing game to Nintendo, and they were very impressed by it. So impressed, in fact, that they let Rare have any franchise of theirs to make a game out of this new technology of theirs. And of course, Rare chose Donkey Kong. What happened then was the beginning of Donkey Kong Country. But while Rare was working on Donkey Kong Country, they were also working on another game on their Silicon computers. But instead of being a platformer like Donkey Kong, this was going to be a fighting game, originally under the name of Brute Force. Brute Force was going to be a street punk typed fighting game where characters fight each other on the streets, and then Rare quickly shot down those ideas for their fighting game because, let's be perfectly honest, it sounds a little too close and a little too similar to Capcom's Street Fighter series, and there were a lot of Street Fighter clones back in the day, as well as there being a lot of Mortal Kombat clones as well. They then started to change the name for their fighting game to make it sound much more cooler and interesting sounding. So from Brute Force to Thriller Instinct to finally Killer Instinct. Once they were totally satisfied with the name they had, they started to actually make the characters for the game. And two of the characters that they first created from the start were a very early version of the character Glacius, but with a mouth and being much more muscular looking and having 2 toes on his feet, which he does not have in the final game. And a very early version of the character Orchid, but with blonde hair, a red outfit, and a staff weapon under the names of Foxy Rave and Wanda. There's also another early version of the character Orchid, but now looking like the Orchid that we all know from the actual game, but with her outfit being black instead of it being green like how it is in the game. Next, there was a cyborg ninja character that would soon eventually turn into the character known as Fulgore, who would pretty much then become the whole poster boy of the entire franchise. But Rare didn't totally throw away the ninja character idea, because they would then create the Tibetan warrior monk Jago. The other characters that Rare then created are an undead skeleton warrior by the name of Agano, soon to be Spinal, a fire guy that's went through several different names such as Meltdown, Magma, Heatshade, and Pyrotech, but soon to be called Sindar. A werewolf character generically named Werewolf, but soon to be known as Saberwolf, a velociraptor named Toxin, soon to be Riptor, and a Native American warrior known as Thunder, and a boxing character originally named Mr. Fist will soon to be known as TJ Combo. We would then get a small brief tease at Rare's new game Killer Instinct at the end of the Donkey Kong Country Exposed VHS tape.
Let's see what's in here. Hey guys, can I play? We're sorry.
The next thing to talk about with Killer Instinct is this very early promo video before Killer Instinct actually hit arcades in 1994, and talk about some of the changes in this promo video and how things actually look in the final game, as well as other things that didn't actually make it into the arcade game. Now, the first thing I want to bring up and mention is that, does this piece of music in the promo video sound very familiar to you? If you didn't know, that's Funky Kong's theme from Donkey Kong Country. It even still has the hi-ya in the song. Now, it's still unknown if this song was originally a song going to be for Killer Instinct but switched over to Donkey Kong Country, or it always was a Donkey Kong Country song but Rare just decided to use the song for the promo video. Now, the only free levels, the rooftop levels, are the only ones that look a little bit different how they do in the final game, and the rest of the levels in the promo video are pretty much exactly the same how they look in the actual game. Now, the only rooftop stage that almost looks very similar to how it does in the final game is Spinal's. The only difference being is that where in the final game, parts of the castle's detailing had red detailing on it, and the promo video, they're gray. Orchid's stage looks a little bit different as well, where the top of the building is silver instead of being brown like it is in the final game, and the buildings and sky in the background look a little bit different as well. But the one stage that looks the most different is Cindar's. Now in the final game, Cindar's stage takes place out in the middle of a desert, where in this it seems to take place out in the middle of a forest, like Spinal's stage, and heck, Spinal's theme even plays as well. There's also these 4 gigantic antennas that stick out on each side of the building for some reason. The character selection screen is also very different looking as well. I mean, just look at how it looks in the final game. Very different. And speaking of the character selection, Robin Beanland, the game's composer, actually made 8 different character selection tracks that they didn't use for the game. So here's what they sound like. And speaking of sounds, one of the other things that make Killer Instinct so very memorable is that crazy off-the-wall voice announcer who says all the combos and stuff, voiced by Chris Sutherland, who is also the voice of Banjo and Kazooie.
Awesome combo!
But in the promo footage, he doesn't sound too off-the-wall and insane about saying the combos. To me, Chris Sutherland sounds like he just woke up out of bed, still exhausted and tired, and probably had a hangover as well, and didn't even get his coffee yet. That's what he sounds like in the promo footage, in my opinion. And speaking of the voice announcer, remember I said a while back in the video that Sindar went through several different names? Well, there's actually unused audio of Chris Sutherland saying two of the unused names for Sindar, Heat Shade and Pyrotech.
Heat Shade. Pyrotech.
And originally, Sindar was going to be more of a lava-type character than a fire-type character, and Rare even thought at one point of giving Sindar the option to switch back and forth from fire to lava. But in the end, Sindar became more of a fiery type of character, obviously inspired by the Human Torch. But anyway, that's all I had to say about this arcade promo, but there are 3 more things I want to talk about with the arcade game. One of them being this unused icon. I have no idea what this icon was supposed to do in the character selection screen. I mean, maybe they used it when a character's icon wasn't fully finished yet, but still, I have no idea what this icon was supposed to do. There's also these 6 pictures of an unfinished level that didn't end up making it into Killer Instinct. Now the way these pictures look and the way the lighting is in these pictures, maybe, just maybe, this was an early version of Jago's stage with the tiger head in the background, or this was another stage for Jago that took place somewhere else in his temple where he worships the tiger spirit. But hey, I'm just guessing, and still, in the end, maybe hopefully one day in the future we'll get more information about this unfinished stage. Only time will tell. There's also some early versions of Killer Instinct arcade machines where you're about to kill your opponent and the voice announcer will say,
Show no mercy.
but there are a lot of versions of the Killer Instinct arcade machine where the voice announcer will say,
Danger, danger, danger.
and of course I couldn't end this video without talking about the gigantic Nintendo Ultra 64 tease that all the arcade machines had.
Available for your home in 1995, only on Nintendo Ultra 64.
Now, as we all probably know at this point, Killer Instinct never officially did get ported to the Nintendo 64, with the N64 being delayed to 1996, and with them also having troubles porting the game to the console. So Rare then decided to port Killer Instinct to the Super Nintendo and Game Boy. But to make it up to some people, if you originally bought the Super Nintendo version back in the day, you would get the game's soundtrack was it called Killer Cuts. And the rest is pretty much history if you've seen my other Killer Instinct videos. Now, before I end this, I absolutely want to thank everyone out there who subscribed to my page and helped me get 500 subscribers. And I mean very, very fast. I mean, you guys all subscribed to my YouTube page so very fast, you helped me get 500 subscribers like it's nothing. But still, thank you so very much for subscribing and showing your support, and I really do hope you enjoyed this video of me talking more about the history of Killer Instinct. And if this video does very well, and if I get more subscribers in the future, maybe I'll do another Killer Instinct video like this and talk about the Easter eggs, or heck, even the comic books, if this does very well. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you for 500 subscribers, and this is Conquer09, signing out.